So in front of us today on the table, we have two compact handguns from Sig Sauer, and these are two that I really enjoy to shoot, and they're very similar, and that's why I thought I'd do a video on it. The gun we have on the left is the Sig Sauer P228, and the gun on the right is the Sig Sauer SP2022. I'll go ahead and mention that the P228 I have here is actually an original 228. They do not make this anymore that I know of, at least here in the United States. So what you'll find these days is the M11A1s, and also the P229 are very similar. The 229, what kind of differentiates that from the 228 is that it was originally designed for 40, but they do offer it in 9mm and in 357 Sig now as well. So it's very similar. There are some minor differences. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but I kind of thought I would just show these two, and you know, based on what's out there on the market, you can also apply that to the 229 and the M11A1, and you'll be pretty close. So I want to go ahead and show that they are clear. That's why I have them open. Both clear. Let's go ahead and start with the 228. I've had this gun for a long time. I put a ton of rounds through it. This was actually my first Sig. I bought this, I really enjoyed it, and I bought a 226, and I really enjoy that as well. And there's just something to be said for the old school Sig. This one actually, you can see made in Germany, 228. You can see a lot of the wear on it. It's had a ton of rounds through it, and it's just been a great gun. So the 228, it is their compact 9mm. This is newer grips, so these are the newer 228 grips. I don't know if they ever offered any of the old school checker grips like the 226 has had. I can't remember, and I had to look that up. But what is nice about it is the weight. It comes in at 26 ounces without the magazine. The magazines are the standard magazine for them is 13 rounds. They also make 15 round magazines. I know Metgar makes them, and there might actually be a Sig OEM that is 15 rounds as well, but I can't remember. I do know that Sig 226 magazines also fit in the 228 and work as well, so you have a little bit higher capacity, but it may stick out the bottom a little bit. Going back to the gun, it is a traditional Sig. There's no real safety to speak of, but it does have a decocker, so pretty standard there. Your back of your grip, it's got the grips come together here, so you got a little bit of texturing here, texturing on the sides, and you'll also have texturing here in front. Also on the front of the trigger guard, you have serrations as well. And let's go ahead and look at the trigger on it. This will be your double action. Smooth. It's a good trigger. And then your single action, you have a little bit of take up here. Really smooth, short trigger. See the reset? Not bad. Overall, very good trigger, and I can say it's gotten better. I've probably got close to, hell, I don't know, I'd say 6,000, 7,000 rounds to this, and it's gotten better over time. It's a really good trigger. Standard magazine release, a standard takedown lever is pretty much the standard on any of the P-Series SIGs. Let's see if I can show this. A little bit of difference here. Oops. Has a stainless steel guide rod, full length, and you can see the rail extends all the way out. And I kind of show the difference here on the 2022. You have a plastic guide rod. It is full length, and then your rail does not extend all the way out. It's kind of inside here. So that's the difference between the 2022 and the P228. And then let's look at this last thing I want to show on here, the sights. So on the 228, you have to stack the sights. Now some people prefer this, some don't. I've gotten used to it over the years, It's not a bad system. It's basically making a snowman with the sights, and it's pretty easy. And just like any other SIGs, you kind of have to just put it on top of what you want to shoot. It's not a 6 o'clock hole, it's directly over what you want to shoot. So it's a little different, but I've gotten used to it. I will say that I believe the M11A1s and even the 229s went to a 3-dot system, but this is what the old 228s have, so that's another difference. Now, as I said, it's a 26-ounce gun without the magazine, around 29 with the magazine. Your length is 7 inches, 7.1 inches. Your height is 5.4 inches. Your width is 1.5 inches, and your barrel length is a 3.9 inch barrel. Now, the 2022, which I've covered in another video, is very similar. Your actual weight is exactly the same. It's a 26-ounce gun, 29 with the magazine. It's a little longer versus the 7.1 or the 7 inch on the 228. It's actually 7.4 inches. It's a little taller, 5.7 versus 5.4, but the width is actually a little less. Very minute difference. 1.5 on the 228 versus 1.4 here on the 2022. And you can actually see that when you're looking at them, so that may be a consideration, especially if you're planning to carry either one of these. And overall, the barrel length is exactly the same on them as well. It's a 3.9 inch barrel on both the 2022 and on the 228. So this has standard 3-dot sights, so that's pretty much common these days, especially on SIGs. It has the same decocker. The only difference on this one is you see this slide stop. It extends all the way back, and actually I like this. It's a full long bar, and the way you take it down is different as well. As you can tell, this has a takedown lever. This is totally different. And if you want to look how to do that, go ahead, and there's other videos out there. I'm not going to show how to take them down. The other main difference is, of course, this has a light rail, which is nice, especially if you're going to run it as a home defense gun. And these also come in night sights versions as well. So yeah, if you're going to run it as home defense, hey, this is probably a good choice. I'll also say that the texturing on the 2022 is better. I have worn this down over the years, so it's not quite as sticky, but I don't ever remember it being as grippy as this texturing on the 2022. And what's also nice about the 2022 is it has these interchangeable back straps. So if it doesn't fit your hand the way it comes from the factory, you can always change these back straps out and make it, fit your hand a little bit better. Same can't be said on the 228. But I've never met a person who didn't like the way the 228 felt in the hand. It's just, this gives you a little bit, as far as more options when it comes to fitting your hand. The magazine release is a little bit different, but overall, pretty much exactly the same. Let's look at the trigger. Smooth, not quite as smooth as the 228, but it's pretty close. Actually, let's look at the single action. You have that same take up. And it's very nice. It's actually a really nice trigger. And I'd say that's very similar to the 228. Can't feel a lot of difference in that. Let's look at the reset. Actually a shorter reset than the 228. Oops. Let's look at that again. So that's your reset on the 2022. Another thing you should note here, this does have a loaded chamber indicator, and the 228 does not. It's another difference I forgot about. So that's a little bit different as well. Overall, they're pretty similar guns. Your 228 will be an all-metal gun. You get an alloy frame with a steel slide. Your 2022 is a polymer frame gun with a steel slide. But overall, they're pretty similar. The 2022 comes with a 15-round magazines, and that's pretty much the standard. I don't know of any other magazines out there other than the OEM for these. These run around $35, $40 versus you can pick these up for $20, $25. So you're saving a little bit on magazine cost, but the difference in price is pretty astounding. So I want to say I paid close to $650 for the 228, and that was quite a few years ago. And the M11A1s, which are pretty similar, almost exact same gun, they run around $750 to $800 versus the 2022, which can be found, anywhere from $350 to $500, depending on if you get contrast sights or night sights. So there's a pretty big difference in price cost. Would I recommend the 228 over the 2022? Probably not, to be honest. I think the 2022 is an excellent firearm, especially from well-known manufacturer like Sig. They both shoot pretty much exactly the same. I can't feel a lot of difference when I'm shooting them, and I've been happy with both. But hopefully this video helps some folks out. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them. Thanks as always, guys.